This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, students, good morning to you all. Let them join them later. So today we are going to discuss about EMFification of. So this is the today's topic. We are going to discuss about EMF equation of DC generator. So before that, I want to know that what we discussed in last class. What is the topic we discussed in last class?
Constructions of DC machines.
Right. So can you tell me the parts of the construction? What are the parts we discussed in the construction of DC generator?
Stator, rotor, sir. Main parts are two: stator, rotor. In
What is the
stator,
first part?
first
Then
one stator is yoke, sir. Pole core, pole shoe, field winding.
in stator. Right. Right. What about rotor?
Armature core, armature winding, bearings, commutator brushes.
Right. Super. So these are the parts we discussed in last class. That is construction of DC generator. And here we are going to derive that derivation that is represents that how the EMF will be induced in the generator. Right. What is the abbreviation of EMF?
Electromotive force.
Electromotive force. Do you know how the EMF will be induced in the generator? So EMF అనేది ఎలా ఇండ్యూస్ అవుతుంది జనరేటర్ లో ఇండ్యూస్. So I will show you one video, then you will get clarity on this. So how the EMF will be induced in the rotor. So keep remember that the EMF will be induced in the armature. Okay now, so that EMF will be converted to the current and we will get the back at the voltage supply, so electrical supply. So that is the thing you have to remember that. Now I will show you one video, then you will get clarity on this how EMF will be induced in the armature, and due to the EMF how we are getting the electrical energy as an output, right? So see this video, then you will get clarity on this. See, this is the most important topic. You may get a 6 marks question, derivation. So it is very simple, but you have to be clear on this. So listen carefully and understand that.
Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Have you ever wondered how DC generators work?
The North Pole, this is so here just imagine that these two are stator and this is as a rotor, and we are giving the mechanical energy to the rotor and getting the electrical energy from the stator. Okay now, so this is the, just assume that now, so in stator we have the poles, north pole and south, so there are the pair of poles we have. If it is 4 poles means two north pole, and in that 4 out of 4 2 poles two pairs are there, two south pole. So it means that the pair of north pole and south pole is makes the two poles. Similarly, one pair is two poles, so totally four poles. So I'm considering that two poles, one is north pole and south pole. In that there is a presence of magnetic field in between these two. So already we discussed the topic, that is permanent magnet. In that the application of permanent magnet we discussed in four categories: category 1, category 2, and category 3. Here the generator magnets having belongs to the category 3. What is the how the category 3 having the properties means, even though there is a absence of field, there is some energy stored in that in the form of residual magnetism. Now if you see that yellow lines, this is the field between the north pole and south pole. So but we can't able to see this visually. Why? Because the field should be flow in the air gap, but we can't able to see. Now just assume that there is a flowing of field between the north pole and south pole. When the armature is rotating in between this, so it is trying to cut this magnetic field. When the armature, this green color is armature, right? So when the armature is cuts this magnetic field, then there is a EMF will be induced, and this EMF makes to carry the current, and thus the current should be outside. Now just see this video, then you will get clarity how the EMF will be induced, and due to that how we can get the output as a supply.
And what are the basic parts of a DC generator? This video will give you the answers to these questions. As you can see, the configuration of DC generator is pretty simple. The stator is a fixed part of the DC generator. The stator consists of permanent magnets, two of them north and south poles, which is placed to fit around the rotor. The main function of the stator is to provide the magnetic fields through which the rotor or armature coil is rotated. Armature loop are generally placed in slots of armature core. The armature coil is formed by connecting several loops in the series. Armature winding is formed by connecting several coils in series. The armature loop connects the magnetic field, due to which an electromotive force EMF is induced in it. For reversing the polarity of the current, it's made of copper. The ring is divided through the middle into two parts.
Here the split ring is acting as a commutator here. So let me see how the split ring will be acting as a commutator. You will get idea on this video.
We must use the split ring to achieve single direction of current. The brushes are made of carbon. These are rectangular block shaped. The only function of these carbon brushes of DC generator is to collect current from commutator segments. A galvanometer is an analog electromechanical actuator that produces a rotary deflection of some type of pointer in response to electric current. So how does the DC generator work? Firstly, we don't want that current's direction to change. We want it to remain the same at all times. Let's say in this direction. So how do we do that? Now, to make sure that the current's direction remains the same, what we require is that these brushes constantly keep changing contacts.
The function is to collect the current. There is a function of brushes, and these brushes are made up of graphite or copper. So whatever materials we required, we can made up of copper as well as graphite.
These wires for each half of rotation. So if the current flows in this way, in this position, this brush must be connected to this wire. So current flows like this and comes out. But when the coil rotates, you can see that when the coil comes to this position, the direction of the current changes. If we want to keep the current in the same direction, we must this brush to be in contact with this wire, right? And then again, when the coil comes to this position, again the direction of the current changes, and again we want this brush to come in contact with this wire. Probably we already learned that for every half rotation we must change contacts between brushes and wires. But how do we make this process happen automatically? We can automate this process by adding split rings. Split rings, as the name suggests, is a ring that is split in between, giving two half rings with the same gap in between. Now let's see how the split rings automatically change contact for every half a rotation. So right now this brush is in contact with this half part of the split ring, violet color. When the coil rotates and comes to this position, the direction of the current changes, and this brush now is in contact with the other half part of the split ring, pink color. This arrangement provides that current flows in the same direction. Again, as the coil comes to this position, finishing another half a rotation, you can see that this is only changed contact. Brush is in contact again with the violet color half part of split ring. In this way, the DC generator is built, where the current only flows in one direction through any external circuit, and in this arrangement, with brushes and split rings, which helps us to automatically change contacts, we call them commutators. So split rings act like commutators. The next thing we must mention, that it's really important for working principle of DC generator, is how can we determine the direction of the current, magnetic field and force. To determine all this, we must use Fleming's right-hand rule. So we will explain how can we use Fleming's right-hand rule. As you can see, the rotation of the coil is clockwise, and the force acting on part of the coil A and B pushing that part of the coil upwards. So to know the direction of the induced current, we apply the Fleming's right-hand rule. How do we do that? We place our right hand so that the thumb points up, showing the direction of the force. The index finger or the finger pointing in the direction of the magnetic field from north to south pole, and the middle finger will point in the direction of the induced current, which is in our case from A to B. Similarly, to find the induced current in a part of the coil CD, we again use Fleming's right-hand rule. So the rotation of the coil is clockwise, and the force acting on part of the coil CD pushing that part of the coil downwards. The thumb points down, indicating the direction of the force. Index finger or finger pointing in the direction of the magnetic field from north to south, and the middle finger will point in the direction of the induced current, which is in this case from C to D. So to conclude, the induced current follows the path ABCD of the coil. The effect of the split ring commutator in DC generators is to ensure that the induced EMF is always in one direction. We can see that in this graph, where V represents the amount of induced EMF and D represents time. You will notice in the graph how the sine wave changes with rotational speed of the coil. The coil in this case has clockwise rotation. Increased rotational speed of the coil increases the amount of induced EMF. The induced EMF has a positive sign. Also, you see the example how the sine wave changes with rotational speed of the coil. EMF has a negative sign.
So I think how the EMF will be induced in the armature, and how the current will be flowing, how the commutator will be working in the generator. You got idea, right? Now keep remember that the direction of current in the generator we can assign by Fleming's right-hand rule. So how we can remember this point means generally what is the output of generator? What is the output of generator? What is the output of generator? Electrical energy, right? So how we can remember whether the generator is given by the Fleming's right hand rule means, so you can take the foot by right hand, right, and you can take the foot when the electrical supply is available, so you can't able to in dark place, right? So due to that you can assume that you can remember that. So the generator output is electrical energy, and you can take the foot when electricity is available, and you can take the foot by right hand. So this is the way you can remember the generator is a given direction of current by using Fleming's right hand rule. Now we are going to derive the EMF equation, and what are the factors will be makes that EMF will be induced in the generator. అంటే ఈఎంఎఫ్ అనేది ఇండ్యూస్ అవ్వడానికి ఏ పారామీటర్స్ అనేవి ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతాయి DC జనరేటర్ లో. సో how we can find the EMF equation by using the different parameters and how the speed will be acting on the EMF equation. Let me derive in the equation part. So it is the most important derivation you have. Okay, just note on that while derive the equation.
To conclude,
Right, so this is the topic today we are going to discuss, that is EMF equation of DC. So later, right. All the EMF will be induced in the generator because of the armature rotates. So when the armature is rotates, a voltage generated in its coils. In the case of generator, the EMF of rotation is called as generated EMF or armature EMF, and it is denoted by EG, that is a generated EMF. But in the case of motor, the EMF rotation is known as back EMF or counter EMF. What is meant by counter EMF? And it's represented by EB. So why it is called as back EMF in the motor? So already we discussed in the first unit. So the EMF induced in the motor we called as back EMF. Why the name was came to this EMF, back EMF or counter EMF? Can anybody tell that why we are called as back EMF? What is the reason? So let me know that what is the input of motor? What is the form of input input to the motor? What is input to the motor?
Electrical energy, sir.
Electrical energy. So we are getting the output as a mechanical energy, right? Now when the electrical energy is applied to the motor, so we are giving the input to the stator in the motor, right? So due to that, EMF will be induced. That EMF is acting as a counter to the supply. So to counter is nothing but it will oppose the supply voltage. That's why the name was came to the counter EMF in the motor. Okay now, so the EMF induced in the motor is called as counter EMF or back EMF. Why it is called as back EMF means it will opposes the supply voltage. So why we are giving that input as electrical energy, right? So that is in the form of voltage. Now this back EMF will be opposes the supply voltage. That's why it is called as counter EMF or back EMF. But the expression for EMF is same for both operations as like generator as well as motor. But when we called EMF in the generator, we call as generated EMF or armature EMF. But in the motor we call as counter EMF or back EMF. But in the form of expression, it is having the same. The only calling is we can call the EMF as a generated EMF and back EMF, motor generator as well as. Now let me go for the derivation. Right. So these are the 5 parameters are involving vital role in the EMF equation. The first one is number of poles of the machine. Suppose if the number of poles are increases, what about speed? The poles are increases in the machine. What about speed? Speed will increase or decrease?
Increase, sir.
Yes. What? Increase or decrease? the number of poles of the machine is increased. So when let me see how the relation with respect to the number of poles and speed and back EMF. Okay, now, and here the pi is a flux per pole in Weber. So the units of flux is Weber, right? And capital Z is total number of armature conductors, and N is speed of armature in revolution per minute, that is RPM. Okay, now, and A is number of paths in the armature winding. So here there is having the two values. One, when A of A is equals to 2 and A is equals to P. So here A, when A is equals to 2 means when the armature winding has the in the form of wave winding. So when the armature winding, that armature winding we are connecting in the wave form, then we have to be assume A is equals to 2. When the armature winding it should be in the form of lap winding, then we can assume that A is equals to P. Here P is a number of poles, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, whatever it may be, they given in the problem. We have to be assumed that when armature winding is in the wave winding, A is equals to 2. We have to be assumed we have to be consider A is equals to 2. When the winding is in lap winding, we have to be consider A is equals to P. Here. Now I will show you that how the P is a number of poles, lap winding, and how the wave winding will be. So let me take the two wires, right? So just I am saying that wave winding first one. So this is, let's consider it is positive wire and it is negative wire, right? So this is the way of arranging the positive wire. So this is the way winding arrangement is called as wave winding. Okay, armature wave winding. So this type of arrangement is called as wave winding. Now let me see that how the lap winding will be available. So let's consider positive and negative wire. So this is the way of we are arranging. So already you did lap welding in your workshop. So why it is called as lap? So what is the meaning of lap? ఎందుకు దీన్ని ల్యాప్ వైండింగ్ అంటారు? What is the meaning? So మీరు ల్యాప్ అంటే ఎలా ఉంటుంది? What is the meaning of lap and how it will be?
సో ఒక్కదానికి ఒకటి కాంటాక్ట్ ఉండేలాగా ఉంటే ల్యాప్
టు ఈచ్ అదర్. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీరు ల్యాప్ వెల్డింగ్ ఎలా చేస్తారంటే, సో ఒక ప్లేట్ పెట్టేసి ఉంటుంది, ఓకేనా, జస్ట్ ఈ ప్లేస్ మీరు వెల్డింగ్ చేస్తారు, దాన్ని ల్యాప్ వెల్డింగ్ అంటారు, ఓకేనా. సో వన్ ప్లేట్ టు అనదర్, దెన్ we have to be arrange we have to be welding that is called as lap winding. Similarly here also we are considering the two windings, one is positive and negative, and one winding is over to another, they are continuously proceeding the entire windings, okay. That's why it is called as lap winding. And keep remembering that when, so ikkada దీనిపైన ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఇచ్చినప్పుడు, so they will mention the armature winding is as wave winding ani, or the armature winding is lap winding. If they are given wave winding in the question, you have to be assumed A is equal to 2. Okay now, and if they are mentioned the armature winding as lap winding, you had to consider A is equals to P, and here P is the number of poles. Already the number of poles they're given in the problem. Okay now, so this is the two considerations while we're talking about armature winding. Okay now. So these are the 5 parameters are acting vital role in the EMF equation. That is induced EMF in the armature. One is poles, flux, number of armature conductors, speed, and number of parallel paths. And P is the number of poles, pi is the flux, and Z is the number of armature conductors, and N is the speed in RPM, and A is the number of parallel paths. So based on 5 parameters, we are going to derive that EMF equation. Right. So the first one thing is, if one armature, the flux cut by the one conductor is given as. So if you see that armature, so మీరు ఆ coil చూస్తే ఒక కంప్లీట్ రొటేషన్ అయ్యేదానికి ఎంతసేపు పడుతుంది. సో వాట్ ఇస్ ద ఫ్లక్స్ కట్ బై దట్ ఆర్మేచర్. సో ఇట్ వాస్ గివెన్ బై P పై. హియర్ P ఇస్ ద నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ పోల్స్ అండ్ ఫ్లక్స్. అంటే నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ పోల్స్ ఎన్ని ఉన్నాయి, ఆ పోల్స్ ఎంత అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్లక్స్ అనేది కట్ చేసింది. సో దట్ ఈస్ గివెన్ బై ఫ్లక్స్ cut by one conductor is equals to P pi, and its unit is Weber. Okay now, let's consider as it is equation 1. So if you have notes, you can write that the equations, then only you can understand that derivation. And next one is the time taken to complete one revolution is given by. సో ఒక ఆర్మేచర్ అనేది మీరు చూసింటే స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి ఒక కంప్లీట్ రొటేషన్ జరగడానికి టైం ఎంత తీసుకున్నట్టే 60/n. సో 60 seconds, I will take the 60 seconds for one rotation. So it is given by T is equals to 60/n. Here n is the speed. Okay na? So and its units is seconds. So now we apply the two equations. One is flux cuts by the conductor and time taken for one revolution. So keep notice the two equations. In one conductor with next. Therefore, the average induced EMF average means, so if you take that, if you consider the number, so rotation అనేది మనకు number of times ఉంటుంది. ఓకేనా? సో మన టోటల్ గా కావాలంటే what we had to be take that average value. అంటే మనకు ఎంత టైం లో ఎన్ని రొటేషన్ జరిగాయి, ఎంత ఫ్లక్స్ కట్ చేయబడిందో, we have to take the average value. That average value of induced EMF is given by E is equals to P pi by T. Okay now, represent it is equation 3. Now substitute the T value in the equation 3. 60/n. What we got the T value here? T is equals to so this is the time taken for one revolution, 60/n. Then we are substituting the T value here. Then you will get P pi n divided by 60. So that is EMF, induced EMF is equals to P pi n by 60 volts. So ఇక్కడ మీకు units బాగా నేర్చుకోండి. The flux units is Webers, and E, that is induced EMF units is volts, and speed units is, what is the units of speed? What is the units of speed?
Meter per second.
RPM, ఇక్కడ రెవల్యూషన్ పర్ మినిట్ తీసుకుంటాము. ఓకేనా? అంటే ఎంత టైం లో ఎన్ని రొటేషన్స్ జరిగాయి. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as స్పీడ్. ఓకేనా? ఎక్కువ స్పీడ్ తిరిగితే ఏమవుతుంది అంటే ఎక్కువ రౌండ్స్ తిరుగుతాయి అన్నమాట, తక్కువ టైంలో ఎక్కువ రౌండ్స్. సో దట్స్ వై వి కాల్డ్ as the speed of n rotations per minute. Okay now, as RPM, revolution per minute. Now the armature conductors connected in series in each parallel path. So మీరు armature కనుక చూస్తే, so this is the armature here, and armature పైన ఈ విధంగా parallel paths ఉంటాయి. ఈ parallel paths లో ఈ armature winding సిరీస్ లో కనెక్ట్ చేసి పెట్టారు. అంటే సిరీస్ అంటే ఇటు ఈ విధంగా వస్తుంది. ఓకేనా? The armature conductors or armature winding connected in series in each parallel paths. ఓకేనా? parallel paths లో సిరీస్ లో కనెక్ట్ చేస్తారు, and its value is given is a number of armature conductors and A is a number of parallel paths. So ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక ఆర్మేచర్ తీసుకుంటే 1 2 ఈ విధంగా ఉన్నాయి. సో హియర్ we can call as it has a 3 parallel paths. ఓకేనా, లేదు 4 ఆ విధంగా, సో ఆ విధంగా చేసుకుంటామంట. సో దట్ ఈస్ గివెన్ బై Z by A. Now the average induced EMF across each parallel path is given by E is equal to, so we have to be multiply 3 pi n by 60 into Z by A. So the final equation is P Z pi n divided by 60. So this is the EMF equation of DC generator. So EG is equal to P pi n Z divided by 60A. Okay now. So if you see this equation, if you observe this equation, the EMF is directly proportional to the number of poles. So in ఎప్పుడైతే number of poles ఎక్కువ ఉంటాయో, then we will get the more induced EMF. ఎందుకంటే ఎన్ని పోల్స్ అయితే ఎక్కువ పోల్స్ కట్ చేసి పడతాయో, then we can get the more induced EMF here. And one more thing, the EMF is directly proportional to the speed. ఎంత స్పీడ్ కనుక రొటేట్ అవుతే అంత EMF అనేది ఇండ్యూస్ అవుతుంది. ఓకేనా. So this is the equation is given by EG, that is P pi n Z divided by 60A. Here P is the number of poles, flux, and n is the speed of the armature, and Z is the armature conductors, A is the number of parallel paths. Suppose if you n by 60 we can replace by n. So if you substitute n by 60 by n, then you will get the equation 5. So here small n is a RPS, revolution per second. Okay na, capital N is RPM, revolution per minute. So keep remember, ఒకసారి మీకు ప్రాబ్లం లో in RPS అని ఇస్తాడు. ఓకేనా. సో అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే if you multiply this with respect to 60, then సో ఈ విధంగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. And your final equation is this P pi n Z divided by 60A. Now we see that what are the effects we are considering in the EMF, induced EMF. Now for the given mission, the number of poles and the number of conductors of our parallel paths are constant. ఎందుకంటే ఏ మిషన్ కైనా పోల్స్ parallel paths కాన్స్టెంట్ గా ఉంటుంది. The only variables are speed. ఎందుకంటే స్పీడ్ అనేది బేస్డ్ ఆన్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీరు ఒక జనరేటర్ తీసుకోండి. సో జనరేటర్ ఇస్ కపుల్డ్ విత్ టర్బైన్. ఎందుకంటే టర్బైన్ నుంచి మనం మెకానికల్ ఎనర్జీ జనరేటర్ తీస్తాం. ఒకవేళ టర్బైన్ పైన ఎక్కువ ప్రెషర్ కనుక అప్లై చేస్తే ఎక్కువ స్పీడ్ రొటేట్ అవుతుంది, తక్కువ చేస్తే తక్కువ చేస్తుందన్నమాట. అంటే ఇక్కడ స్పీడ్ అనేది వేరియబుల్, బట్ ద పోల్స్ అండ్ ఆర్మేచర్ కండక్టర్ parallel paths ఆర్ కాన్స్టెంట్. సో అది డిజైన్ చేసేటప్పుడు అది ఫిక్స్డ్ గా ఉంటుంది. సో వీ కాంట్ ఏబుల్ టు చేంజ్ ఇన్ బిట్వీన్ దట్. Hence the equation can be written as, so E is equals to K pi n అనేది తీసుకోవచ్చు. సో ఇక్కడ K అనేది కాన్స్టెంట్ వాల్యూ and it is given by PZ by A. So these 3 parameters are constant. సో మనకు ఫార్ములా కనుక తీసుకుంటే EG equals to P pi n Z divided by 60A. In this equation P, Z and A, these 3 parameters are constant and the variables are speed and pi. ఎందుకంటే based on the mechanical input to the generator, the speed will be changed, and based on the speed the flux will be changed. ఓకేనా. అంటే ఈ 5 parameters లో 3 parameters constant, 2 parameters variable based on what we are giving the input to the generator. ఓకేనా. So based on these constant conditions we are indicate as E is equal to K into pi n. Okay, here K is a PZ by A. Right. Therefore the induced EMF, so we can call as directly proportional. So E is equal to K1 pi n. So here K is a constant and pi n is a variable. Now I want to know that what is the difference between velocity and angular velocity. What is the difference between velocity and angular velocity? What is the difference between velocity and angular velocity? Whether both are same or different? What is the difference between velocity and angular velocity? What is the units of velocity? What is the units of velocity? See, you have to give the answer whether it is right or wrong. So don't be silent, right? So if you are silent means I can think you are not listening my class.
Meter per second, sir.
Meter per second,
Right.
sir.
Meter per second. So I'm asking that what is the difference between velocity and angular velocity? If you, so I will explain that. Okay, no problem. So I will tell you that what is the difference between velocity and angular velocity. Suppose if there is a vehicle is there, right, and if it is moving in this direction, right, so this is called as linear motion. When we have calculated speed when it is in linear motion, we call as velocity. At the same time, when the movement in the circular motion, we call as angular velocity. So that is the difference between velocity and angular velocity. And the units of this velocity is meter per second or kilometer per hour. Okay, now next, what is the units of angular velocity means radians per second. Yeah, that why we are using the angular velocity means here the armature is rotating in the circular motion, right? So that's why we call it as the speed in the form of angular velocity. Okay, now right. See here, these are the 4 points very important. It is clear that the induced EMF is directly proportional to the speed. ఓకేనా, అంటే ఎంత స్పీడ్ కనుక రొటేట్ అయితే అంత ఈఎంఎఫ్ అనేది ఇండ్యూస్ అవుతుంది. సో ఆల్రెడీ వి ఫౌండ్ ఇన్ ద ఈక్వేషన్ E equals to P by NZ by 60A. So this is our actual equation. From this we have to be what are the parameters are directly affect the EMF equation. Next, the polarity of induced EMF depends upon the direction of magnetic field and direction of rotation. Okay na, so మీకు ఆల్రెడీ వీడియోలో చూసారు, if based on the direction the current direction also changes. Okay na, so ఈ రెండు పాయింట్స్ direction of rotation అన్నమాట. This induced EMF is a fundamental phenomena for all the DC machines whether they are working as a generator or motor. ఈ EMF అనేది both are having the fundamental phenomenon, and if we are talking about generator, as we can call as generated EMF, or if we are talking about we can about motor, we call as back EMF, but the formula is same. The only difference is where what we have to be talking about, whether it is generator or motor. If we are talking about generator, we can call as a generated EMF, or we can call as a we are talking about motor, we call as a back EMF. Now I will tell you that in the first, so you have the first unit, right, DC generator. In that just categorize the two parts, part A and part B. In part A you must have that construction of DC machine or EMF equation. ఈ రెండు క్వశ్చన్స్ లో ఏదో క్వశ్చన్ మీకు షూర్ గా వస్తుంది. If they are asking about the EMF equation, additionally they will ask the problem on the EMF equation. సో ఈ రెండు కలిపి మీకు 10 మార్క్స్ ఇస్తాడు. ఈఎంఎఫ్ ఈక్వేషన్ డెరివేషన్ అడిగితే దానికి అడిషనల్ గా ప్రాబ్లం ఇస్తాడు, లేదంటే కన్స్ట్రక్షన్. సో ఈ రెండు క్వశ్చన్స్ లో మీకు ఖచ్చితంగా ఒక క్వశ్చన్ వస్తుంది పార్ట్ ఏలో. అంటే పార్ట్ బి లో వచ్చేసి రిమైనింగ్ టాపిక్స్ అంటే టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ డీసీ జనరేటర్, క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఆఫ్ అది పార్ట్ బి. సో పార్ట్ ఏ వచ్చేసి ఈ రెండు క్వశ్చన్స్ డామ్ షూర్ గా వస్తుంది అన్నమాట. సో జాగ్రత్తగానండి. అండ్ ఇఫ్ దే ఆర్ ఆస్కింగ్ అబౌట్ ఈఎంఎఫ్ ఈక్వేషన్, so let me do one problem on this. Additionally they will ask the problem, okay, EMF equation. So this is the representation of EMF equation. When we talking about generator, then it is called as generated EMF. It is denoted by EG. EG equals to PZ pi n divided by 60A. If we talking about motor, we call as a back EMF and it is denoted by EB. So the same, we have the same equations. The only difference is where we are talking about the whether it is generator or motor. Next, let me do this problem. See here, just note down just write the EMF equation. EG equals to P pi NZ divided by 60A. This is our formula, right? And from this equation, we have to be find that what will be the voltage generated. So ikkada EMF anna same, voltage anna same. Okay, don't be confused that. And both having the same unit, that is volts. EMF is nothing but a voltage. Okay, now see this problem. A 4-pole generator having the wave winding armature winding has 51 slots and each slot containing 20 conductors. What will be the voltage generated in the machine when driven at 1500 RPM, assuming the flux per pole is 7 meter? Tell you what is the value of P here? What is the value of P here?
Four, sir.
What is the value of A? See, I already told that it depends on how the armature is winding or providing. If the armature winding is wave winding, then you have to
Yes, sir.
consider as A equals to 2. So, మీరు wave అంటే అలే కదా, సో అలా ఇప్పుడు ఒకటి ముందుకి ఒకటి బ్యాక్ అంటే 2 times అనేది డైరెక్షన్ చేంజ్ చేస్తుంది. సో ఆ విధంగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. When it is wave winding, you have to be consider that A is equals to T. Okay na? Next, what about N value? What is the value of N?
$1,500.
What is the value of N? So please tell me, the time is going over. The N value is 1500 RPM. Okay, now next, what is the value of flux? Pi.
$7.0.
So how we can? So this is in the form of milliweber. How we can convert into webers? Millis ni మనం ఏం రాసుకోవచ్చు? (10⁻³ Weber. Okay na? Next, what about jet? So ఇక్కడ చూస్తే it has 51 slots. Okay na? 51 slots లో ప్రతి ఒక్క slot లో 20 కండక్టర్స్ ఉన్నాయి. సో ఒక స్లాట్ లో 20 కండక్టర్స్ ఉంటే 51 స్లాట్స్ ఎన్ని కండక్టర్స్ ఉంటాయి? ఇంటూ 20 కదా. Then its value is given by Z. సో ఈ వాల్యూస్ అన్ని సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేయండి. Then find the EMF, that is generated voltage. ఓకేనా? సో మీకు ఈ PPT మీకు ఈవినింగ్ సెండ్ చేస్తాను. Then you have to be solve this equation, the question, and send me your answer. Okay na? Right. So this is about today's class, and just practice the EMF equation and do the problems based on the EMF equation. Then only you will get the clarity on this. So I'm going to end this class now. Thank you.